Liz Kendall apparently wants to get everyone back to work, the disabled, the ill, and of course the people caring for those disabled and ill people, the carers themselves. But guess what? There is something that Liz Kendall just isn't telling carers. So before I tell you what that is and how you can really benefit from it, let's just listen to what Liz Kendall has got to say.
This year's Carers Week. The theme this year is caring about equality, and that is something I personally care passionately about because so many unpaid family carers face such barriers and such problems with their health, with their incomes and their opportunities. This excellent report, Caring About Equality, highlights something that is particularly close to my heart, which is the number of unpaid carers who have to give up work because they can't balance their work and caring responsibilities. Around 600 every single day. That's terrible for them and their families and living standards and their opportunities. It's terrible for businesses who lose out on the talents and experience of carers, and it's terrible for our economy and society as a whole. That's what we need to change. As we all live for longer and care for longer, we're going to have to do more to help unpaid carers balance their work and caring responsibilities. I'm very proud that this government within the first year has introduced the biggest ever increase in the earnings threshold for carers allowance, so more family carers can balance work and caring. There's much more to do, but together I believe we can tackle the inequalities facing family carers and give all carers across the UK a better life.
And I'm quite surprised that Liz Kendall's pal, Rachel Reeves, didn't come along with her and help her present these figures. So carers get about £83.30 a week on carers allowance. And that isn't even including a vast majority of the hours that they actually have to do in caring for a family member or a friend. But did you know that carers can actually be paid an awful lot more than that? And I'm surprised that Liz Kendall, in her little announcement there, hasn't told us all about it. So let me share. Carers can actually be completely self-employed and submit invoices to social care and get about £583 a week. It's a big difference between £83.30 and £583 a week. I'm just wondering why Liz Kendall has not pointed this out. Let me break it down for you step by step, how it works, and how, if you don't know how to do this, how you can actually go about getting it. Because I too, like Liz, are all for equality. But in order for equality to happen, you need to tell people all of the rules and all of their entitlements. So let's go for it. And before I start, because Liz Kendall and Rachel Reeves are ladies who like their figures, I think it's going to be worth pointing out that the National Audit Office says overpayment debt ballooned at 68% in the last 5 years, with our government, as we just heard there from Liz Kendall, that says as life gets better, we're all going to be living longer. Just wondering why then there are so many people in debt. So if you're one of these carers, unfortunately being paid a terrible pittance of £83 a week for all you do for people that you love and care about, so much so that you're prepared to literally be paid hardly anything at all for all of your effort and hours, you need to transform your caring services into something called self-employed personal assistant. And this is done as a self-employed basis. It's fairly simple. You register with HMRC and you either invoice direct with your local council or you invoice direct adult social care or another care facility. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of rates of some councils. Shropshire rate is £16.65 an hour, so 35 hours a week. by 1665 is £583 a week. Why, oh why, has Liz Kendall not published this? Why has she not told people this? Savvy carers know this, and savvy members of families who are caring for their family members and who may have a background or a professional experience in social care or working for the NHS or the local council will know this. So why is this not being made common knowledge? Liz, for example, I'd love you to answer this. And why aren't you helping these carers get what they're duly paid, what they should be paid? £580 a week for working in this remit is, I think, a fair wage. But why haven't you told anybody about this? It's quite shocking. Now, another way you can do this is actually under something that is termed direct payments. And direct payments are literally what they are, direct payments. You fill in a timesheet and the council will pay you directly. Again, it's self-employed, and the rates are between £15 and £18 an hour under direct payments for the average council. Is your local council publishing this information for you? Let me know in the comments if they're not. Let me know in the comments if they are, and I'll give them a shout out for being a really good, transparent local government office that wants to help its local community, disabled and carers people alike. So how do you get started? I'm going to give you another way that you can get started if this is you and you are currently a carer. Number one, always go and run a little benefits check. Use a good website like entitled2.co.uk to see if the direct payments beat carers allowance for you. Pretty sure in most circumstances or most examples it's going to, but just do the check anyway. Number two, if there is a social worker involved, get the social worker's approval because that is going to help with the council. Now, social workers can actually set a personal allowance rate or a personal assistant budget. And you can indeed reference Shropshire's council as evidence of it being in practice. Next, print HMRC's test result. And if you don't know what assessed is, it's check employment status for tax. And then it just proves that you'll be doing everything transparently and above board. Now, if you want to directly invoice a council under the direct payment scheme, you are going to need this CEST or CEST result. And one of the reasons for that is because it shows or proves or evidences to auditors that this is legitimate and that the money you are requesting is legitimate and that your status is legitimate. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video on actually how you log on to HMRC and do this CEST result. And of course, the final thing you're going to need is a written contract or a written care support plan. And in that you can have things like who sets the rota, like who sets the hours that you're going to be working, whether you can send a substitute if you're ill, for example, you need to go on holiday, or heaven forbid a family life matter happen, who buys the kit because you're going to be self-employed, so who's going to be buying any medical or support expenses? Is that going to be coming out of your money, or is that going to be like billed separately? And if you're doing direct payments with the council, what happens if the council cancels the hours because there's still going to be a vulnerable disabled person there needing some help? Once you've done that, save the PDF and email it to the direct payment finance team at your local council. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that Liz Kendall forgot all of that rather important part of helping carers to be more independent and get themselves back to work, because she cares so much about equality. So let's start by paying carers an equal and fair wage and giving them the information so they can go about working for themselves and getting that fair wage. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about this, if you knew about it, if you didn't know about it, if it's been helpful, or anything else that's nice that you might want to comment. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon.